It was very hot here in New York this week. We even had some power outages. But down on Wall Street, worried brokers and bankers were talking about a different kind of meltdown. Its cause is not global warming and high temperatures, but the housing market. Look at these headlines. The giant investment firm of Bear Stearns is in trouble. 2 of its high-flying hedge funds said to be on the verge of collapse. There were even rumors in the press that Bear Stearns is just the tip of the iceberg. That many investment firms took a gamble on what bankers and brokers call subprime mortgages and now wish they hadn't. Because all across the country we're seeing rates of foreclosure and delinquency shoot up. When times were good, these adjustable rate loans help people move into the houses they wanted. But as interest rates have climbed, so have mortgage payments. Jumped so high that many people cannot pay them back. At the same time, so many new homes were built that there's a glut. More homes for sale than buyers to buy them. So the woes of Main Street reach back to Wall Street and vice versa. That's behind the fear of a financial meltdown. Gretchen Morgenson covers the financial world for the New York Times. A former stockbroker, she's now a columnist and assistant business and financial editor at the Times. She won the Pulitzer Prize in 2002 for her trenchant and incisive coverage of Wall Street. Welcome to the Journal.
Thanks, Bill.
You ended your column this week saying, hold on to your hat. It's going to be an interesting summer. So I'm holding on to my grandson Henry's hat because it's the one I have. He's here this week. Why should I hold on to it? What's going to happen?
We're just starting to see, I think, the shaky ground that is the result of what you just described, which was excessive amounts of loans made to people who could not afford them, and excessive amounts of money thrown into the mortgage arena by investors who were very eager for high-yielding investments. I think it was a mania. It fed the real estate mania, the real estate bubble in many parts of the country.
Is it conceivable to you that Bear Stearns and some of these other firms could trigger, in fact, a meltdown, a falling domino, all the way through the economic cycle, that everybody would be affected by this?
Well, I think the economy is already being affected by it, Bill, because real estate has been such a driver. The increase in home prices was such a driver of the economy for so long. You know, people were withdrawing equity from their homes. As they saw their value of their homes go up, they were taking them out. They were using them like an ATM, cashing out that equity and going to Europe on a vacation, maybe buying a second home. It was a way for the consumer to cash out of what he or she saw was an escalating asset. And that drove a lot of consumer spending. You're seeing it in the home builder stocks that are down. You're seeing it in Home Depot, companies like that that are not having the, revenues and earnings that they did because people are not, they're pulling back now. They're not buying the second home. They're trying to get rid of the second home. So it's already started to affect the economy, the overall.
I mean, it's one thing for a homeowner out there in New Jersey or Denver or Dubuque to have to foreclose. Sad personal tragedy. But what makes that and what makes Bear Stearns create what the New York Times editorial said is a dangerous financial time?
So many things, but one thing is, in the old days, when you borrowed to buy a home, you had a one-on-one relationship with your banker. The banker knew you knew the banker. He knew or she knew whether you were money good on that loan.
That you could pay it back.
And that you could pay it back. And you would have a relationship with that person. Now, who knows who owns your loan? Wall Street has come up with this wonderful system of packaging mortgages into big, huge pools of thousands of mortgages, slicing them up, cutting them up, and selling them to investors. I've talked to lawyers who are trying to help people out who are in foreclosure who can't even identify who owns the loan.
So somebody lends money to a home buyer who's not a good credit risk, who can't really pay it back. But then that lender, as I understand it, sells the loan to Wall Street and the lender walks away.
Correct.
And that just escalates with a lot of people doing it?
It feeds into this idea that we need to make more loans. The lender in the old days kept the loan on the balance sheet, had an interest in seeing that it was repaid. Now this lender sells it to someone else, not his problem anymore, gets the money back to make another loan. The lenders now are more interested in earning the fees associated with the mortgages, which are extremely lucrative. And they have no credit risk because they have pawned off the loan on somebody else. It's somebody else's problem. That helped to feed this mania for mortgage securities that then played into this idea of giving a mortgage to anybody who was ambulatory.
No questions asked.
No questions asked. We had a situation where they would give money to people who could not document their income, who could not provide a down payment. Then you would have second loans on top of those loans, which they call silent seconds or piggybacks. There was so much money around, Bill, that seeking, looking for a way to be deployed,
to earn interest. Yeah, to earn interest, right.
There was so much money around that they just threw it at anybody.